I recently just did 22 years in the Virginia Department of Corrections for nonviolent offenses. While in jail, I got into an escape security situation, and they placed me in solitary confinement while I was at the jail. And when I was moved to the Department of Corrections, they also placed me in solitary confinement there for about the first year of my stay there. Solitary confinement was it's an experience that I can't really put into words. I don't think that individuals understand what it's like to be held in a space the size of a parking space and be given nothing but a mat and the bare minimum clothes. Don't even have hygiene products. To come out of your cell, you have to put handcuffs and shackles on, and you're walked with a leash down a tier to a shower or to a recreation cage that is about the size of your cell. It's horrific. After 2 weeks, you start to deal with all types of mental things, wondering about reality because you're so separated from it, the deprivation. Yeah, it's a horrific experience. Well, solitary confinement, I did several, over 22 years in prison, I did several times in solitary confinement for different reasons. Sometimes solitary confinement can be placed on a person for bed management spaces because they don't want you in a particular pod, and until another bed comes open, you can be held in solitary confinement. I was sent to solitary confinement for possession of a cellular phone. Actually on a couple of different occasions. A cellular phone is considered a major security risk in prison. And when that happens, you are placed in solitary confinement until you go through the disciplinary process, and then you're usually transferred, and you're held in solitary confinement until you're transferred. So I did, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months on different occasions that I was placed in solitary confinement for a variety of different reasons. Well, solitary confinement has taken on many names because one of the clever things that prison administrators have done is preservation through transformation. They change the name but keep the same practices in place. So solitary confinement, or what we choose to call isolated confinement, really comes to taking a person out of what would be the general population and placing them in a singular cell or sometimes a double cell, and then keeping them separated from the rest of the individuals around you. Minimal contact with staff or people in general. You don't have televisions or commissary or most of the hygiene and clothing that is available to the general population. You're not allowed to leave your cell without wrist restraints and leg restraints. And this is, up until I left. I left in 2021. I've been home almost 2 years now. And yeah, it's exactly how it sounds. We are naturally social beings. It is unhealthy to be isolated, especially when you deal with the mental state of most individuals who are incarcerated, which is depressed and despondency and despair. And also mental health issues. There are a lot of individuals who are placed in solitary confinement due to the behaviors that they've shown because of mental health problems that they may have. And while you're in solitary, you hear people screaming and banging on doors for 20 and 24 hours a day, and it's just a miserable thing. Individuals attempting suicide, individuals retaliating against staff members by throwing bodily fluids and all types of the crazy, most gruesome things that you can think of. Those things happen in solitary confinement. So solitary confinement is just exactly what you think it is, a living nightmare. It certainly affects people in many different ways. It exacerbates mental illnesses. It makes it hard to socialize because you become very intuitive in your nature as a means of survival. How it has affected me? Well, I've come home and I've had to deal with the trauma of not knowing how to relate to individuals around me. And a lot of the things that I deal with is not just solitary confinement, but it's a combination of 22 years of incarceration. But the solitary confinement in particular, hanging over your head throughout prison as a potential disciplinary option, it was horrifying. I mean, you were scared, you walked along a chalk line hoping that you would never be sent there. And it was jail within a jail. And so I still deal with those things today, trying to have meaningful relationships with people. I'm isolated a lot now. That's my place, comfort place, and it stops me from having meaningful relationships sometimes and productive relationships with family members, friends, and the like. So yeah, it has long-lasting effects, and I like to think that I'm probably one of the good stories, because I know of horrible stories of individuals who came home from long-term solitary confinement, took their lives, or even took the lives of others. So it affects many people in many different ways, but it certainly affects them. You know, I came home expecting one thing and came home to a world that was 22 years beyond the way I left it. And so it took a lot of adjusting. I am very thankful to my family for walking with me as much as they could through the process. I'm thankful to mentors and individuals in the community who decided to kind of take me under their wing and really help me try to use whatever strengths I had to fight against some of the conditions that I experienced while in prison. And so, you know, through activism and volunteering, and you know, I've had my missteps. It hasn't been all peaches and cream, but I'm starting to get it really into gear. You know what I'm saying? I have a great job that I'm really excited about. I love working every day. I love being able to volunteer and give back. I love thinking that I'm affecting change for people who are in similar situations like myself. And that has been therapeutic on its own, giving myself a sense of self-worth. I'm sorry. But being able to do that has really helped me. It has helped me mentally. It has helped me physically to just feel motivated to continue to fight this good fight. And I just want to say that when we talk about the conditions of solitary confinement, in no way are we minimizing the crimes of individuals who may be incarcerated. That's not to say that these people are not guilty of particular crimes per se, but we're talking about cruel and unusual punishment and torture, something that is outlawed by the Constitution. And we are better than that. As a people, as a country, we're better than that. We can treat people with dignity and respect and still hold them accountable for their actions. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys. Ignite Justice, I'm the national spokesperson for Ignite Justice. Please reach out to us, Ignite Justice, on our Facebook page. I'm also on the Coalition for Solitary Confinement, and I am the co-chair of the People's Rights Committee. The People's Rights Clinic. So reach out to any of those organizations, and if you are moved by what I had to say or any of my comrades had to say, then I ask you to get involved and make your voices heard. That's how we accomplish change. We need the voices of the people.